So last year, we got a set of chains. And they were good chains. They were nice. They definitely did the job. But they were kind of a bitch to put on. A bitch too. God, that's a beautiful phrase. I do like that phrase a lot. Now, what do I mean by a bitch too? Well, if something is a bitch to do, it is difficult to do. If something is a bitch to do, it is frustrating to do and you really do not enjoy doing it. Laundry is a bitch. I hate doing laundry. Laundry is a bitch to do, especially in the building where I live. The reason why laundry is a bitch to do in the building that I live, we have 2 washers, 2 dryers on the bottom floor. My wife and I live on the top floor. That means we need to go down 3 stairs, like 3 flights, to get to the laundry machine. Sometimes all the laundry machines are occupied or taken. Nothing you can do, you just have to wait. When a laundry machine is free, you get to put your clothes in, you do a wash, but then you have to go back down to move it from the washer to the dryer. And there might be someone waiting to use it, so they might move your stuff for you, which, absolutely fair, you should have done it yourself. Sometimes I go down and it's on the final spin. But there's no timer. There's no timer on the laundry machine. And this is what irks me so much. This is what pisses me off so much. This is what makes laundry a bitch to do in my building. You don't know how long it's going to take. There's no telling. Is it on the final spin? Like, did it just start the final spin? Or is it at the end of the final spin? And that's why it's a bitch to do laundry in this building. Because maybe you go down and you see it's on the final spin. That could mean there's 10 seconds left, or it could mean there's 20 minutes left. I don't know. And it is the most frustrating thing in the world, because then you have the anxiety. Do I wait down here? Or do I go upstairs and come back down in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? But if I don't come down in time, someone's going to move my laundry. And I just hate it. I absolutely hate doing laundry in this building. Laundry is a bitch to do in this building. I'm venting. I can feel my blood pumping when I think about or talk about laundry in my building. There was an incident once. I'm sure some of you know exactly what I'm going to talk about, but someone stole my laundry. That's another reason why my laundry is a bitch to do. And having shared laundry is an absolute bitch, because someone literally took my clothes one time. That motherfucker. Oh yeah. Long story short, I went down to get my laundry. Wasn't there. Someone had taken it. I'm thinking, who the feck is going to take my clothes? They're huge. So then I go and I call my landlord and I go back and we're looking for the laundry. It's not there, it's not there, it's not there. It turns out one of the other tenants took the laundry, put it in the trunk of his car, drove around, came back and then returned it. And honestly, no idea why. But if you go way back in my Instagram stories, you'll see it. So, doing laundry is a bitch. Laundry is a bitch to do in my building because there's no timers. It's shared. Someone might take it. It's always busy. Sometimes people try to cut the queue. I really dislike when that happens. And even one time, actually, someone took my clothes out of the dryer when they were wet and put their clothes in. How dare they? How absolutely dare they do something like that? But that is the problem of having shared laundry. So, laundry is a bitch to do in my building because blah, 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 blah. Now, how do we get talking about that phrase, a bitch to do? Chains. Winter chains. Putting winter chains on your tires is also a bitch. It's also a bitch to do the chains because you have to get out of the car. You have to reach around the tires so you're on your knees. You're in the snow or the mud. It's going to be cold outside because you're up in the mountains and you got to connect them and then your hands start to get cold. And if you're anything like me, you're probably going to forget to bring your gloves. So your hands do get cold and they're in the snow, out of the snow. And then you got to tighten the chains. And sometimes I would have a bungee cord to make the chains extra tight so they're nice and snug on my tire. Now, once you have the chains securely fastened to the wheels of your car, you can drive in the snow no problem. And it does make a difference. The difference is night and day. Oh boy. I have tried to drive up that hill sometimes without chains, and it is so nervous. It is so nerve-wracking. I'm always nervous. I'm terrified that I'm going to go into a ditch and get stuck or something. And now, every single time for the last year, I always stop, take some time, slap the chains on and up the hill. The first time I had the chains to put on, it probably took me, I'd say 30 minutes to get them on. And it was driving me mad. I was so pissed off. I was so angry. Now, with the experience, it genuinely takes like 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes a wheel now. So, just want to brag. I'm pretty good at putting chains on tires. But they were still a bitch to do because you had to get out of the car and you had to tighten them yourself and everything. So, last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago now, I went to Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire is a popular, very popular store in Canada. It's nationwide, all over the country, provincial-wide, nationwide. It's in nearly every town that you go to, in British Columbia at least. Every town I've been to has a Canadian Tire. Hardware store, garden store, all of that jazz. And I got myself a new set of chains, and these are auto-tightening chains. Auto-tightening. Guys, the difference is amazing. It is insane. One of the reasons that we got these new auto tightening chains, so it's kind of in the name, auto, automatic, it means that when I put the chains on, I flick a switch on them and they automatically get tighter on the wheel. And it cuts out so much work. But one of the big reasons we got those is because the old chains that we used a year ago, which are good and they absolutely do the job, they were a little too difficult for my wife to get on because it did require that you pull on a bungee cord and that you hook it in at the same time. And getting them on is one thing, but then getting them off was another thing. So these new ones are absolutely perfect for her and obviously for me, because now doing the chains or putting the chains on the tire is not a bitch to do. It's not a bitch to do anymore. It's actually a joy to do. And I get that real satisfying feeling whenever I flick the switch and zoom, they tighten automatically. It is, guys, I can't get over how good they are. It was $195. $195 well spent. A well spent $195. Let me tell you that.